My beloved, pause for a moment. Let the noise of the world fall away, just for now. There is a message for you, one that carries the weight of heaven and the tenderness of a whisper. Archangel Michael, the great protector and messenger of divine justice, is drawing near. He brings a word that is not for yesterday, not for some distant future, but for this very hour. Within the next 3 hours, a blessing is set to arrive at your doorstep. This is not a vague hope or a distant promise. It is a sacred invitation to step into a moment that has been prepared for you, even as you have waited, wondered, and sometimes wept. You know the ache of waiting. You have felt the sting of delay, the heaviness of prayers that seem to echo back in silence. There are moments when you have watched others receive, while your own hands remained empty. The world has told you to hurry, to chase, to strive harder, but your spirit has grown weary from the running. Delay has become a familiar companion, and sometimes, it has whispered that you are forgotten. But hear this, delay is not denial. The waiting is not a punishment, but a preparation. The ache you feel is not a sign of abandonment, but a sign that your heart is still alive, still open, still longing for what is true. There is a holy tension in this moment, a contrast between the heaviness of delay and the lightness of release. You stand at the threshold, between what has been withheld and what is about to be poured out. The pain of missed moments, the regret of what could have been, is real. But so is the hope of sudden breakthrough. What if this is your hour? What if the blessing you have prayed for, the answer you have longed for, is already on its way, carried by the hands of angels, wrapped in the timing of God? Let yourself feel the urgency, not as pressure, but as possibility. The next 3 hours are not just another stretch of time, they are a window, a sacred opening. Heaven is closer than you think. The blessing is not just for someone else, somewhere else. It is for you, right here, right now. You are not overlooked. You are not invisible. The God who sees you, the angels who guard you, have not forgotten your name or your need. Take a deep breath, dear one. Let the air fill your lungs and remind you that you are alive, present, and chosen for this moment. If you can, pause whatever you are doing. Set aside the distractions, the scrolling, the endless to-do lists. Create a quiet space, even if it is just in your heart. This is your invitation to be fully present, to receive what is being offered. You do not have to earn this blessing. You do not have to chase it down. You only need to open your hands and your heart. There is a promise woven into this hour, a sacred promise that what has been delayed can be released, that what has been withheld can be restored. The pain of waiting is real, but it is not the end of your story. The God who holds time in his hands is not late. The angels who minister to you are not idle. There is movement in the unseen, a stirring in the spirit, a shift that is already beginning. Can you sense it? Can you feel the atmosphere changing, the heaviness lifting, the hope rising? If you have ever wondered if your prayers matter, if your tears are seen, let this be your confirmation. You are not alone in the waiting. The ache you carry is known in heaven. The longing in your heart is echoed in the heart of God. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to your faithfulness, as a champion of your cause. He is not just a distant figure in ancient stories, he is present, active, and fiercely protective of your destiny. So, beloved, as you listen, let yourself hope again. Let yourself believe that release is possible, that breakthrough is near. The next 3 hours are not empty, they are pregnant with promise. What if this is the moment everything changes? What if the blessing you have been waiting for is already on its way, closer than your next breath? If you are willing, whisper this simple declaration: I am open to receive. Let it be a seed planted in faith, a signal to heaven that you are ready. You do not have to understand how it will happen. You do not have to control the outcome. You only need to stay present, to stay open, to stay expectant. As you settle into this sacred space, know that clarity is coming. Comfort is coming. The confusion of delay is giving way to the clarity of release. The heaviness of waiting is being lifted by the lightness of hope. Stay with me, dear one. There is more to reveal, more to uncover, more to receive. The story is just beginning, and you are at the center of it. Now, let us move deeper, into the heart of your journey, into the empathy and context that will remind you, you are not alone in this. There is a quiet ache that so many carry, often hidden beneath the surface of daily life. You may know it well, the feeling of being overlooked, the sense that your prayers have gone unanswered, your efforts unseen. Perhaps you have watched others receive their breakthroughs while you remain in the waiting room of hope, wondering if your time will ever come. If you have ever felt invisible, if you have ever questioned whether heaven remembers your name, know this: you are not alone. The struggle of delay is not a mark of failure or a sign of being forgotten. It is a deeply human experience, woven into the stories of those who have gone before you. Think of Hannah, who wept in the temple, her longing for a child misunderstood by those around her. Think of Joseph, left in a prison cell, his dreams seemingly buried beneath years of silence. Even Jesus, in the garden, felt the weight of isolation as he prayed, "Let this cup pass from me." These are not tales of defeat, but of perseverance, of presence in the midst of what feels like absence. You are part of a great cloud of witnesses, a lineage of faith that has always included seasons of waiting. The enemy would have you believe that you are isolated, that your struggle is unique, that your pain is proof of abandonment. But the truth is, your story is echoed in the lives of many. There are countless souls, right now, across the world, who are holding on, praying through tears, and daring to hope for restoration. You are not the only one who has felt stuck, who has wondered if the heavens are silent. Let me share with you the story of Maria, a woman who spent years praying for reconciliation with her estranged daughter. There were nights when she felt utterly alone, her prayers seeming to vanish into the void. But in her waiting, she discovered a deeper presence, a God who sat with her in the silence, who collected every tear, who never left her side. When the breakthrough finally came, it was not just a restoration of relationship, but a revelation of how deeply she had been seen and loved all along. Or consider David, who lost his job and felt the sting of rejection. For months, he wrestled with feelings of inadequacy and fear. Yet, in the quiet moments, he sensed the nearness of angels, the gentle assurance that his worth was not tied to his circumstances. When a new opportunity opened, it was not just a job, but a testimony to the faithfulness of God who had never abandoned him. These stories are not rare exceptions, they are reminders that presence is often found in the very places where we feel most alone. The contrast between isolation and presence is real, but it is not fixed. Even in your loneliest moments, you are surrounded by a love that will not let you go. The God who formed you, the angels who guard you, are closer than your next breath. You are chosen, not forsaken. You are seen, not overlooked. If you find yourself in a season of waiting, if you feel stuck in a place of delay, I invite you to bring that area into the light. Take a moment now, find a piece of paper, or open a note on your phone. Write down one area where you have felt stuck, one place where you have longed for movement but have only found stillness. There is power in naming your struggle, in refusing to let it remain hidden in the shadows. When you bring it into the light, you invite the presence of God and the ministry of angels into that very space. You are not alone in your waiting. Your story is still being written, and the author is faithful. The presence that surrounds you is greater than the isolation that tries to define you. Even now, as you listen, you are being drawn into a deeper awareness of divine companionship. The ache of delay is real, but so is the comfort of knowing you are held, seen, and chosen. As we move forward, let us look together at the unseen conflict that often lies beneath our waiting, the patterns and forces that seek to keep us stuck, and the protection that is already at work on your behalf. There is a mystery to waiting that often goes deeper than what the eyes can see or the mind can reason. When you find yourself in a season of delay, it is easy to wonder, what am I doing wrong? Why does breakthrough seem to come so easily for others, while I remain in this holding pattern? But, dear one, the truth is that much of what you face is not a reflection of your worth or your effort. There are unseen dynamics at play, spiritual currents and ancient patterns that can shape the landscape of your journey. Sometimes, the delays you experience are not simply the result of circumstance or chance. There are spiritual forces that resist your progress, not because you are weak, but because your destiny carries weight. The enemy does not waste energy on those who are not a threat. If you have felt the sting of repeated setbacks, the ache of doors closing just as you reach for them, know that you are not being punished. You are being protected, even as you are being prepared. Consider the patterns that have shown up in your life, cycles of betrayal, moments when trust was broken, opportunities that slipped through your fingers. These are not just random misfortunes. Often, they are the echoes of generational struggles, the residue of battles fought by those who came before you. Perhaps you have noticed that certain challenges seem to repeat, not just in your life, but in your family line. Financial struggles, broken relationships, dreams deferred, these patterns can feel like invisible walls, keeping you from the fullness you long for. But hear this, these patterns are not your identity. They are not your fault. They are not a verdict against you. They are simply the battleground on which your story is unfolding. The confusion you feel is not a sign of failure, but a sign that something is shifting beneath the surface. When the fog of confusion settles in, it is often because clarity is about to break through. The enemy sows confusion to keep you from seeing the truth of who you are and what you carry. But the Spirit of God brings clarity, even in the midst of chaos. Betrayal is one of the sharpest tools the enemy uses to keep you stuck. It wounds the heart, erodes trust, and tempts you to close off from hope. Yet, even in betrayal, there is a hidden protection. Sometimes, what feels like rejection is actually redirection. Sometimes, the doors that close are the very ones that would have led you away from your true path. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian in these moments, wielding his sword of truth and justice, cutting through the lies that would keep you bound to old pain. You are not alone in this unseen conflict. The forces that oppose you are real, but so is the protection that surrounds you. The angels are not passive observers, they are active participants in your story, fighting on your behalf, shielding you from harm, and clearing the way for your blessing to arrive. The delays you experience are not evidence of abandonment, but of a battle being fought for your good. If you look back over your life, you may begin to notice the patterns that have tried to define you. Perhaps you have always felt on the outside, always striving but never arriving. Maybe you have trusted, only to be let down. Maybe you have worked hard, only to see your efforts come to nothing. These are not signs that you are cursed or forgotten. They are signs that you are in the midst of a spiritual struggle, a struggle that is not against flesh and blood, but against forces that seek to keep you from your inheritance. But clarity is coming. The confusion that has clouded your vision is lifting. The betrayals that have wounded your heart are being healed. The protection of heaven is stronger than the resistance of the enemy. You are not defined by the battles you face, but by the one who fights for you. Take a moment now to reflect. Where have you seen patterns repeat in your life? Where have you felt stuck, confused, or betrayed? Gently name these places in your heart, or write them down in a journal. There is power in bringing the unseen into the light. When you name the pattern, you begin to break its hold. When you acknowledge the struggle, you invite the presence of God and the ministry of angels into that very space. You are not powerless in this conflict. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a beloved child of God, fiercely protected and deeply loved. The delays you face are not the end of your story. They are the setting for your breakthrough, the backdrop for your restoration. As you continue on this journey, remember, confusion is giving way to clarity, betrayal is being met with protection, and every delay is being transformed into a stage for release. Stay with me, dear one, as we move forward to discover the signs and confirmations that heaven is already sending your way. There is a language that heaven speaks, one that often bypasses the noise of the world and reaches straight into the heart. You may have wondered, how do I know if God or the angels are truly speaking to me? How can I be sure that what I sense is more than just wishful thinking? The truth is, beloved, that heaven is always communicating, sometimes in bold, unmistakable ways, and other times in the gentle, almost hidden whispers that only the attentive soul can perceive. Divine confirmations rarely arrive with flashing lights or thunderous announcements. More often, they come as dreams that linger in your memory, numbers that repeat until you can't ignore them, names that surface at just the right moment, or a sudden, unexplainable peace that settles over you like a warm blanket. These are the fingerprints of the unseen, the gentle nudges that remind you that you are not alone, that your journey is being watched over, and that your prayers are being heard. Consider the number 3. In this very message, you have been told that within 3 hours, a blessing is set to arrive. The number 3 is woven throughout the fabric of the divine story. 3 days in the tomb before resurrection, 3 times Peter was restored, three visitors who brought news to Abraham. When you see the number 3, whether it's on a clock, a receipt, or in a dream, it can be a sign that heaven is marking your timeline, that something significant is being set in motion. Sometimes, you may receive 3 confirmations in quick succession. A friend calls with encouragement, a scripture appears at just the right moment, and a song on the radio echoes the very words you needed to hear. These are not coincidences, they are the choreography of the Spirit, guiding you from the unseen into the seen. Perhaps you have noticed a name that keeps appearing, or a phrase that repeats itself in conversations, books, or even your own thoughts. Maybe you have felt a sudden peace in the midst of chaos, a sense that everything will be all right even when circumstances haven't changed. These are all ways that heaven speaks, subtle, yet powerful. The contrast between the seen and the unseen is where faith is forged. You may not always see the hand that moves, but you can sense the movement. You may not always hear the voice, but you can feel the guidance. Take a moment now to look back over the past 24 hours. Has there been a dream that stayed with you, a number that caught your eye, a message that seemed to come out of nowhere? Have you felt a nudge to reach out to someone, or a gentle prompting to pause and listen? These are not random. They are invitations to pay attention, to recognize that you are being guided, loved, and affirmed. If you are willing, write down any signs or confirmations you have noticed recently. It could be as simple as a repeated word, a meaningful encounter, or a sense of peace that defies explanation. When you record these moments, you honor the conversation that heaven is having with you. You make the unseen a little more seen, the mysterious a little more tangible. Remember, you are not chasing after signs to prove your worth or to force an answer. You are simply opening your eyes and heart to the ways that God and the angels are already speaking. The more you notice, the more you will notice. The more you honor the small confirmations, the more you will find them multiplying in your life. Heaven's language is not always loud, but it is always loving. The signs you receive are not tests or tricks. They are reminders that you are on the right path, that you are seen, and that your story is unfolding according to a divine rhythm. Even when you feel alone, the signs are evidence that you are surrounded by presence, that the unseen is working on your behalf. As you continue, keep your heart open to the ways heaven is speaking. The signs are there, waiting to be noticed, waiting to be received. And as you become more attuned to these confirmations, you will find your faith strengthened, your hope renewed, and your sense of connection deepened. Now, let us move into a deeper understanding of the spiritual framework and authority that undergirds these signs, the protection and justice that Archangel Michael brings, and the ethical, loving nature of divine intervention in your life. Pause for a moment, dear one, and let your spirit settle. In the midst of uncertainty, in the swirl of questions and longing, there is a presence that stands unwavering on your behalf. Archangel Michael, the great defender and champion of heaven, is not a distant figure from ancient texts. He is a living, active force in your story today. His mandate is clear: to protect, to enforce divine justice, and to ensure that what is meant for you cannot be stolen, delayed, or diminished. Throughout the ages, Michael has been depicted as the mighty warrior, sword drawn, standing between the vulnerable and the forces that seek to harm. But his authority is not rooted in violence or fear. It is rooted in love, in the unshakable justice of God, and in the overflowing abundance of heaven. Where fear would have you shrink back, Michael's presence calls you to stand tall. Where scarcity whispers that there is not enough, of time, of love, of opportunity, Michael's mandate is to remind you that heaven's storehouses are never empty, and that you are not forgotten. You may have felt, at times, that you are fighting your battles alone. The world can be a harsh place, and the wounds of betrayal or disappointment can make you wary, even of hope itself. But faith is not the absence of fear, it is the courage to trust that you are not unprotected, not abandoned. Michael's shield is not just a symbol, it is a spiritual reality. When you feel exposed, when anxiety rises, when the future feels uncertain, you can call upon this protection. You can rest in the assurance that you are covered, not just by your own strength, but by the authority of heaven itself. Let us take a moment together to step into this reality. Close your eyes, if you are able, and take a slow, deep breath. Imagine, with the eyes of your spirit, a radiant shield of light encircling you. This is Michael's shield, brilliant, impenetrable, humming with the energy of divine love. See it forming a circle around your body, your mind, your heart. With each breath, feel the shield growing stronger, brighter, more tangible. Let the fear that clings to you melt away in the presence of this protection. Let the sense of lack or scarcity be replaced by the assurance that you are surrounded by more than enough. Breathe in, and as you do, silently declare, I am shielded by divine protection. I am safe. I am covered. Let this truth settle into your bones. You are not at the mercy of chaos or chance. You are not exposed to every storm that passes by. Michael's mandate is to stand guard over your destiny, to ensure that what is yours by divine right cannot be taken from you. This is not a promise that life will be free from challenge, but it is a promise that you will never face those challenges alone. The authority of Michael is not about domination or control, it is about restoration, about setting things right, about ensuring that justice is done in the most loving and ethical way. When you feel the pressure to strive, to prove yourself, to grasp for what you need, remember that you are already under the covering of heaven. You do not have to fight for scraps. You do not have to live in fear of missing out. The overflow of God's provision is your inheritance, and Michael's presence is the guarantee that you will not be left empty-handed. There is a profound difference between living in fear and living in faith. Fear contracts, isolates, and convinces you that you are alone and unworthy. Faith expands, connects, and reminds you that you are part of a story much greater than your own. Michael's authority is the bridge between these two realities. He stands at the threshold, inviting you to step out of the shadows of fear and into the light of faith, out of the mindset of scarcity and into the experience of overflow. If you ever doubt your worthiness, if you ever question whether you are truly protected, remember this: the very fact that you are listening now, that you are seeking, that you are open, is evidence that heaven is already at work in your life. Michael's shield is not reserved for the perfect or the powerful, it is for the humble, the hopeful, the ones who dare to believe that they are loved. As you move forward, carry this image with you. Whenever fear tries to creep in, whenever you feel the pull of scarcity, return to this moment. Breathe deeply, visualize the shield, and remember that you are never alone. The authority of Michael is not just a story, it is a living promise, a spiritual reality that you can access at any time. Let this assurance settle in your heart as we prepare to explore the path from delay to release, the journey that transforms waiting into breakthrough and longing into fulfillment. The shield is around you, the mandate is for you, and the overflow is already on its way. There is a sacred journey that every soul must walk, the path from waiting to receiving, from longing to fulfillment. If you are here, it is because you sense that something is shifting, that the season of delay is giving way to a new chapter of release. This journey is not a straight line, nor is it a race to be won. It is a process, both spiritual and practical, that invites you to move from chasing after what you desire to carrying the assurance that what is meant for you is already on its way. The first step on this path is recognition. Take a gentle, honest look at your life and ask, where have I been striving, pushing, or chasing after answers? Where have I felt blocked, as if an invisible wall stands between me and my breakthrough? Sometimes, the block is not external but internal, a belief that you are not worthy, a fear that you will be disappointed, a habit of holding on too tightly to outcomes. Recognizing the block is not about blame, it is about awareness. When you see it, you can begin to release it. Surrender is the next step, and it is often the hardest. Surrender does not mean giving up or resigning yourself to lack. It means loosening your grip on how and when your blessing must arrive. It means trusting that the timing of heaven is perfect, even when it does not match your own. Surrender is the shift from chasing to carrying, from running after what you want to holding space for what is already being prepared for you. It is the quiet confidence that you are not forgotten, that your prayers are not lost, that your story is still unfolding. Aligned action is the bridge between the spiritual and the practical. It is the willingness to move when prompted, to say yes to opportunities, to reach out when you feel led, to rest when you are called to wait. Aligned action is not frantic or desperate, it is intentional and peaceful. It is the difference between chasing after every possibility and carrying the assurance that the right doors will open at the right time. When you act from a place of alignment, you become a partner with heaven, co-creating the outcome rather than forcing it. To help you step into this reversal path, I invite you to participate in a simple, sacred practice, a 3-hour watch. Set aside the next 3 hours as a window of intentional openness. Begin by setting an intention: I am open to receive. I trust the timing of my blessing. Write this intention down, or speak it aloud. Then, as you move through the next 3 hours, stay present. Notice any inner promptings, sudden ideas, or unexpected opportunities that arise. Jot them down, no matter how small or insignificant they may seem. This is not about forcing something to happen, but about becoming aware of the ways release may already be unfolding. You may find that a conversation opens a new door, that a message brings unexpected encouragement, or that a moment of stillness reveals a solution you had not seen before. Sometimes, the shift is subtle, a sense of peace where there was anxiety, a release of tension in your body, a gentle knowing that you are exactly where you need to be. These are all signs that the delay is lifting, that the energy of release is moving in your life. Remember, the journey from delay to release is not about proving yourself or earning your blessing. It is about aligning with the flow of grace, trusting that what is meant for you cannot pass you by. The contrast between chasing and carrying is profound. Chasing leaves you exhausted, always reaching but never arriving. Carrying fills you with quiet strength, a sense of being held and guided, even when the outcome is not yet visible. As you walk this path, be gentle with yourself. There may be moments when old fears resurface, when impatience tries to take over, when doubt whispers that nothing is changing. In those moments, return to your intention. Breathe deeply. Remind yourself that release is both a process and a promise. The delays you have experienced are not wasted time, they are the soil in which your faith has grown, the training ground for your trust. You are not alone on this journey. The angels walk with you, guiding your steps, clearing the way, and celebrating every moment of progress. Archangel Michael stands as your advocate, ensuring that what is yours by divine right will not be withheld. The reversal path is not just about receiving a blessing, it is about becoming the kind of person who can carry it with grace, gratitude, and wisdom. As you complete your 3-hour watch, take a moment to reflect on what has shifted, what has been revealed, and what you are now ready to release. Write down any insights or promptings, and thank Heaven for the movement that is already underway. The path from delay to release is open before you, and you are walking it with courage and faith. Now, let us move together into the next sacred step, rituals and declarations that will help you activate and anchor the blessing that is on its way. There is a sacred power in the words you speak, beloved. When you declare your readiness to receive, you are not just making a statement, you are opening a door. Heaven responds to faith-filled words, and the angels are drawn to the sound of your voice when it is lifted in hope and expectation. In this moment, you are invited to move from a mindset of scarcity, where blessings feel distant or reserved for others, into the overflow that is your divine inheritance. Let us begin by pausing, taking a slow, deep breath, and allowing your heart to settle into a posture of openness. Imagine, for a moment, that you are standing beneath a waterfall of light. This light is the abundance of heaven, the goodness of God, the favor that cannot be earned but is freely given. Feel it washing over you, dissolving every trace of lack, every whisper of unworthiness, every fear that you might be overlooked. You are not on the outside looking in. You are at the very center of God's attention, and the overflow is for you. Now, I invite you to speak this declaration aloud, wherever you are. Let your words carry the weight of your faith and the hope of your heart. I am open to receive every blessing prepared for me. I release all fear of lack and step into the overflow of God's love and provision. I am ready, I am willing, and I am grateful. As you speak these words, notice how your spirit responds. There may be a sense of peace, a gentle warmth, or even a quiet excitement rising within you. This is the energy of alignment, the resonance of your soul with the truth of heaven's abundance. If you feel led, type "I receive" in the comments or write it down as a daily reminder. This simple act is more than a ritual, it is a signal to your own heart and to the spiritual realm that you are ready for what is coming. Let us pray together, inviting the presence of Archangel Michael and the host of heaven to seal this moment. Holy God, I thank you for every blessing you have prepared for me. I welcome the guidance and protection of Archangel Michael. I declare that I am no longer bound by scarcity, but I step boldly into the overflow of your goodness. Let every area of my life be touched by your abundance, my relationships, my health, my finances, my spirit. I receive, I believe, and I give thanks. Amen. Feel the shift as you pray. The contrast between scarcity and overflow is not just a change in circumstance, it is a transformation of perspective. Scarcity says, "There is not enough for me." Overflow says, "There is more than enough, and I am included." Scarcity clings and fears, overflow trusts and releases. As you anchor these declarations in your heart, you are choosing to live from the place of overflow, no matter what your current situation looks like. Make it a practice to return to these words each day. Write your declaration on a piece of paper and place it where you will see it often. Speak it aloud in the morning, or whenever doubt tries to creep in. Let it become the rhythm of your heart, the song of your spirit. The more you declare your readiness, the more you will notice the blessings that are already flowing toward you. Remember, beloved, that you are not striving to earn what has already been given. You are simply aligning yourself with the truth of who you are, a beloved child, chosen for overflow, protected and guided by the angels. Your words are seeds, and as you plant them in faith, you will see the harvest in due time. As you continue on this journey, keep your heart open and your spirit expectant. The blessing is not just coming, it is already on its way. And as you declare your readiness, you make room for even greater things to unfold. Now, let us look ahead to the sacred timelines and checkpoints that mark your journey, those moments when heaven's movement becomes visible, and you are invited to notice and celebrate every sign of progress. Beloved, as you stand on the threshold of release, it is natural to wonder, when will I see the evidence? How will I know that the blessing is truly on its way? Heaven's timing is both mysterious and precise, and while the fullness of your breakthrough may unfold in ways you cannot predict, there are sacred checkpoints along the journey, moments when the unseen becomes seen, and the promise begins to take shape in your life. In the next 3 hours, you may notice a subtle but powerful shift within. It could be a wave of inner peace that settles your heart, a sudden clarity about a decision, or a gentle nudge to reach out to someone or take a small step forward. These are not random feelings, they are the first signs that the energy of delay is giving way to the movement of release. Pay attention to the atmosphere around you. Sometimes, the air itself feels lighter, or a sense of hope rises where there was heaviness. This is the Spirit's way of preparing you for what is coming. Within 3 days, expect the possibility of unexpected messages or encounters. Perhaps someone you haven't heard from in a long time reaches out, or a door you thought was closed begins to open. You might receive a word of encouragement, a new opportunity, or a confirmation that aligns perfectly with what you have been praying for. These moments are not coincidences, they are checkpoints, reminders that heaven is orchestrating details on your behalf. The contrast between delay and release becomes more visible as you witness these small but significant shifts. By the 7th day, you may find that something you have been waiting for begins to manifest in a tangible way. It could be a breakthrough in a relationship, a financial provision, a creative idea, or a sense of renewed strength and purpose. The fear that once held you back is replaced by faith, a quiet confidence that you are moving in the right direction. This is the fruit of your openness, your declarations, and your willingness to trust the process. Release is not always a single moment, it is often a series of unfolding events, each one building upon the last. At the 14-day mark, look for the cumulative effect of these shifts. You may realize that you are no longer the same person who began this journey. The waiting has transformed you, deepened your faith, and expanded your capacity to receive. Doors that once seemed locked may now stand open. Relationships may be restored, opportunities may multiply, and your sense of connection to the divine may feel stronger than ever. The journey from delay to release is not just about what you receive, it is about who you become along the way. To anchor these experiences, I encourage you to keep a journal during this time. Each day, take a few moments to write down any signs, confirmations, or shifts you notice. Use this prompt to guide your reflection. What blessing am I ready to receive, and how will I recognize it? As you write, allow your heart to be honest and expectant. Journaling is a sacred act. It helps you see the hand of God in the details, and it creates a record of faith that you can return to whenever doubt tries to creep in. Share your confirmations with others if you feel led. Your testimony may be the encouragement someone else needs to keep believing. The journey from delay to release is not meant to be walked alone. It is a shared path, woven together by the stories of those who dare to hope. Remember, dear one, that every checkpoint is a celebration, every sign a reminder that you are seen and loved. The contrast between fear and faith, delay and release, is being rewritten in your life. You are moving forward, step by step, into the fullness of what has been promised. As we continue, let us turn our attention to the wisdom of discernment and the importance of healthy boundaries, so that you may walk this path with confidence, clarity, and peace, no matter what arises. It is natural, dear one, to feel a flicker of doubt as you walk this path. You may wonder, what if nothing happens? What if I am only imagining these signs, or hoping for something that will never come? These questions are not a sign of weak faith, they are a sign that you are human, seeking clarity in a world that often feels uncertain. The journey from fear to faith, from confusion to clarity, is not about silencing your doubts, but about learning to walk with them in wisdom and grace. Discernment is your spiritual compass. It helps you distinguish between the gentle promptings of heaven and the noise of anxiety or wishful thinking. When you sense a nudge, pause and ask, does this bring peace, or does it stir fear? True guidance is marked by a quiet assurance, even if it challenges you to step out of your comfort zone. If confusion lingers, give yourself permission to wait. You do not have to rush or force an answer. The Spirit leads with gentleness, never with pressure or panic. Boundaries are a sacred gift. They protect your energy, your time, and your heart. Healthy boundaries allow you to say yes to what aligns with your spirit and no to what drains or distracts you. If you feel led to reach out to someone, do so with intention, not obligation. If you sense that a situation is not right, trust your intuition and step back. Review your commitments, your finances, your relationships. Ask yourself where you need to create more space for peace and clarity. Spiritual bypassing is the temptation to use faith as a way to avoid real-life responsibility or uncomfortable emotions. True faith does not ignore reality, it faces it with courage and hope. If you are waiting for a blessing, continue to take practical steps, apply for the job, have the honest conversation, make the wise financial choice. Trust that God and the angels work through your actions as much as through your prayers. If you ever feel overwhelmed or uncertain, use this simple boundary script. I honor my intuition and wait for peace before acting. Speak it aloud, write it down, or hold it in your heart. This is your permission to move at the pace of grace, to trust that clarity will come in its own time. Remember, beloved, that discernment is a journey, not a destination. You are learning, growing, and becoming more attuned to the voice of heaven with every step. Fear may visit, but it does not have to lead. Confusion may arise, but clarity is always on the horizon. As you continue, let this wisdom guide you into the final movement of this journey, a gentle resolution and a call to step fully into restoration, with hope and gratitude lighting your way. Beloved, as we come to this sacred close, let your heart rest in the assurance that the blessing you have longed for is already in motion. The prayers you have whispered, the tears you have shed, the faith you have carried through seasons of delay, all of it has been seen and honored. Restoration is not just a distant hope, it is the promise that is unfolding even now, in ways both visible and unseen. You are stepping out of the shadow of betrayal and into the shelter of divine protection. Where scarcity once echoed in your thoughts, overflow is now rising to meet you. Imagine your life as a garden, once barren but now bursting with new growth, flowers of hope, streams of provision, and the gentle presence of angels tending every corner. The old wounds are being healed, the broken places mended, and the story of your life is being rewritten with grace. This is your moment of new beginnings. The doors that once seemed locked are opening. The heaviness of the past is lifting, replaced by the lightness of possibility. You are not defined by what you have lost, but by what you are about to receive. The God who restores, the angels who protect, are surrounding you with favor and abundance. You are safe, you are seen, and you are chosen for overflow. As a simple act of faith, I invite you to comment below with your name and the words, "I welcome my blessing." Let this be your declaration, your ritual of agreement with heaven's promise. As you do, you are not only affirming your readiness, you are joining a community of others who are also stepping into restoration. There is power in unity, and your voice matters. To plant a seed for your restoration, share one thing you are grateful for today. Gratitude is the soil in which blessings grow. As you name your gratitude, you make room for even more to be poured into your life. Let this be your daily practice, a gentle reminder that overflow begins with a grateful heart. The journey from betrayal to protection, from scarcity to overflow, is not just a story you have heard, it is the reality you are now living. The blessing is on its way, and restoration is your portion. Hold this truth close, and step forward with hope. Your story is not over. In fact, it is just beginning. Welcome your blessing, and let restoration flow.